Our road to the Final Four on CBS makes a Big East stop this afternoon. The Marquette Golden Eagles against the Panthers of Pittsburgh from the Peterson Event Center. Good afternoon, everybody. Vern Lundquist along with Billy Packer. We welcome you to this very intriguing matchup, a Marquette team that has been up and down for most of the season. They started out with an 8-0 record, and among those victories, Texas Tech and Duke on back-to-back nights. But then an unexpected loss to North Dakota State, 64-60, and they had an 0-2 start in the Big East with losses at Providence and at home against Syracuse. But now they have won 3 straight. And Pittsburgh, Billy, has Aaron Gray, a big man who's really fun to watch.
Well, he was picked preseason as the player of the year in the Big East. He is a dominant force inside. Now, we watched yesterday where he did not practice. It's going to be important today to see how he comes back from that wrist injury.
And now, Billy, time for the singular in-game analysis.
Well, when you look at this game, it's extremely athletic. Marquette's triple threat with James, McNeil, and Matthews really presents problems for everyone. The Golden Eagles' three-point percentage. In their 4 losses this year, they've shot a woeful 18%, and Pitt guards the 3 very well. Pitt's ball protection, #1 in the country in assist-turnover ratio. Can't get any better than that. And, of course, we talked about Aaron Gray. He is a real factor down inside.
A Marquette team 16-4, Pitt 17-2. Tip coming up. Years of age in his 8th season as the head coach at Marquette, has his team 16-4, and here are his starting 5 for the Golden Eagles. Dominic James, one of the best point guards in America, Jarrell McNeil and Wesley Matthews, all sophomores, and they are joined by Lazar Haywood, a freshman who gets his 4th start today, and Ousmane Barrio, a junior. And for the Pittsburgh Panthers, 17-2, another outstanding point guard, Levance Fields, joined in the backcourt by Antonio Graves. Mike Cook, junior East Carolina transfer, Aaron Gray with the right wrist injury, and Levon Kendall complete the starting 5, and Jamie Dixon in his 4th full season as the head coach, having succeeded Ben Howland. Today's game is brought to you in HDTV by Harris Corporation, the world leader in broadcast systems for high-definition television and mobile media.
Gray stole that one on the way up and got by with it. That ball wasn't tossed about maybe a half a foot above his head before he made contact.
Well, if you're looking for early omens, Pittsburgh is 12-0 when they've won the opening tip in this game. And there's Gray.
Barrows are going to have no chance whatsoever being behind Gray that low in the post without any double-down action against him. Plays right over the top.
In the corner, here's James, kick out. Now back outside, back in the hands of Dominic James. High screen set by Barrio from the corner.
Push.
That was Hayward, and a push.
Fields pushing off out there. Now we see Gray coming out on the hedge move against these extremely quick perimeter players from Marquette. Vern, I think what we'll see is the Marquette players crossover dribble and go right by Gray to go inside to get some numbers, and then either go right to the basket for layups or to kick way out for some jump shots. Gray very vulnerable when he's that far. See how far he's stepping out?
Absolutely. Now the entry pass to Barrio with Gray guarding him. Barrio, who is off of a sensational game, 14-11 against Louisville, and the foul is called on Aaron Gray. And just to reacquaint you with Aaron Gray's injury, it's sustained Tuesday during a shoot-around. Right wrist was jammed while he dunked it. He played with a wrap around the wrist in the early moments of the game Tuesday night. Discarded it, played very well in the second half, but has not practiced at all from that point after the game until today.
Just got some running work in, but didn't have any action. And we even noticed when he came out in the layup lines today, he never slapped anybody's hands with his right hand, only used his left. But he said he can play through it, thought he might have some pain, and I'm surprised he's not in any way taped up today. Had a big brace on that hand yesterday.
Yes, he did. Barrio with the free throws. We're tied at 2. And here is Levance Fields. Now Antonio Graves. Gray calls for it.
It's a big problem right away that you can see for Tom Crean. And, of course, last year, Gray had 13 points and 20 rebounds in Pitt's victory over Marquette. They split last year, Marquette winning it is. There's that split I was talking about. A good offensive maneuver.
Now back in the hands of Dominic James.
Foul on the inside by Hayward, trying to fight for position. Boy, without question, Kendall and Gray's size causing a lot of problems.
Pittsburgh off to a 5-0 start. They have never been 6-0 in Big East play. Syracuse a game back. And then you see Cincinnati, St. John's, South Florida, and Rutgers at the bottom of the list. And Jim Calhoun said he thought Pittsburgh, after the loss the other night, was by far the best team in the Big East this year.
I would have to agree with that.
Here's Fields.
And you can see Barrow not able to come over and help out at all because he realized there's a dump to Gray. Gray has some presence inside.
They quickly move the ball into the lane. McNeil has it blocked. And this is not a big shot-blocking Pittsburgh team. There's Levon Kendall back for Gray.
Oh! He wanted that jumper.
Yes, he did. Mike Cook, 2 years at East Carolina, sat out last year. Number 31.
But Cook has had good games when he was at East Carolina against Marquette. Terrific game. 17-5 1 year. He had 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists the other. Both losing causes, but close games in which he led his team.
Levon Kendall. A little short with the layup. And now it's in the hands of Wes Matthews. Left side.
Again, I think it's real important for Marquette to force Gray to come outside to guard the screens and then beat him back to the basket.
Now he's out on the perimeter.
Right there.
Yep. Up. And Kendall with a rebound. A foul called. I think they got Lazar again. Well, one of the outstanding attributes of this team is their assist-to-turnover ratio.
Vern, it is not only the best in the country, but it's distributed throughout the team. Normally, when you have a good assist-turnover ratio, you have one ball handler, let's say, that occupies the ball all the time. But in this particular case, this team is doing incredible things. 366 assists, only 221 turnovers. That's plus 145. Just spectacular. There's the double down, first time today.
Back to Graves, who can shoot the three. That one doesn't go. Aaron Gray with a rebound, kicks it in the corner. Mike Cook, offense. Got him with the elbow.
Well, Cook, I talked about his play at East Carolina. He did have a situation where he had a charge. Tie score in a ball game against Marquette. Had a charge call. That was a foul. Then he picked up a technical foul. Marquette made the free throws. He was out of the ball game with his 5th. Might have cost his team the ball game. So a charge similar to that one. No complaint on his part there, though.
There's Dominic James missing off the glass. It's out of bounds on Marquette. Dan Fitzgerald has come on now for the Marquette Golden Eagles.
Well, Marquette with a 3.4 advantage over their opponents rebounding-wise. Pitt at 6-1. But when you watch this game early, it looks like Marquette has no answer inside for the size of Pitt. Just dominated them down inside.
That was Cook who got the low post, got the pass in the basket. And it's 6-2.
There's Gray outside where you want him, but Barrow doesn't even touch the ball. Too late.
And Kendall reverses and gets there, but Barrow does get the basket.
Vern, that has got to be Marquette's offense. Get Gray to come out, hedge move up 18, 20 feet from the basket, then Barrow drop down quickly into the low post, getting the ball a little bit quicker. He got that one because Kendall was slow getting over there. That's available.
Mike Cook guarded by Wes Matthews. Nice spin move, and there's Gray. Wow.
There is no answer. Big man not showing any ill effects from those 4 days off, is he?
Not at all.
Some shot.
Dominic James.
James last year in that split had 2 outstanding games. 16 points in both of them. Had 16 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 0 turnovers in the win last year. That's a complete game for a freshman point guard.
Averaging 16.5 in this his sophomore season.
James is on Kendall right now. They switch back.
Here's Gray with Barrow.
And no double down.
And they get it back to him.
No
There's
double
the double,
down.
but it's late. Absolutely.
No double down. They're going to have to double down on him.
Aaron Gray 4 for 4. Doesn't seem to be bothered by that wrist, does he?
Not at all. Very smooth, soft shot.
Had some problems. He was 4 of 12 in the win the other night against UConn, but then he exploded in the second half and wound up 1 rebound shy of 20 and 20.
Beautiful defense.
Blocked by Graves, leaves the ball. And it's picked up by Ousmane Barrow. Now Dominic James up and under and good.
Went by Kendall, which was not a big problem for him because of his incredible explosiveness, but Gray was waiting on him. He used that rim to shield Gray away. Terrific play. Big East Player of the Week reigning right now for his outstanding play last week in those 2 wins.
Now the freshman scoring record had been 14 points per game, held by an old friend, Doc Rivers. That was established in 80 and 81. Dominic James beat that last year. This one off the mark. Barrow goes up for the rebound. Oh, boy. Wow. Absolutely oblivious to the presence of the metal chair. Time called. He's fine. Pittsburgh 10-9, fueled by the effort of Aaron Gray, Billy.
Well, a real force inside. I mean, Marquette has no answer for him from a size standpoint, so they're going to have to double down. They're going to have to do things to keep that ball away from him, particularly in that low position. He's done the job on both ends. There's a block right now. His teammates are 1 for 5. He's 4 for 4. Going to take a slight blow, and it's obvious to us, Vern, he's had no problem catching the ball, no problem rebounding it. So I think that injury he sustained before the Connecticut game seems to be okay.
Well, they had it. Here's Levon Kendall in and out. And the rebound in the hands of Dominic James, Richmond, Indiana. Dan Fitzgerald.
With Gray out of the game, he could be more inclined to try to penetrate off the dribble, take it to the basket now.
Sam Young has replaced Gray. Number 23, there's the penetration.
There's the penetration, dribble it, take it right to the basket. You got Gray sitting down. Marquette wisely takes it right to the hoop off the dribble. This Marquette team's a tough team to match up with. You've got terrific quickness on the perimeter. They don't really, in the case of Barrow, have a guy that occupies the ball a lot in the low post. He's setting screens. So these guys are going to put the ball on the floor and penetrate. Now their problem is you would think that same combination would be great outside shooting perimeter team, but they are not.
Wes Matthews misses on the free throw, and this is Marquette's first lead, 11-10. Winners of 3 in a row in the Big East. They've never won 4 in a row.
In the Big East.
In the Big East, that's right. Kendall, of course, this is their second year.
They're just giving Kendall the shots. He's had 3 wide open looks. Nobody even guarding him. You've got to bury those. Nice pass. There's Barrow. Sets the screen, rolls to the basket. Gray's out of the game, and Marquette takes advantage of it.
Barrow with 6 points. Jamie Dixon calls timeout. 13-10. Golden Eagles. At this week's top 10, Billy, what catches your attention?
Well, without question, a huge win for Bob Knight at home right there. And right here, it doesn't surprise me that UCLA won that game. But what is amazing, Lute Olson has never lost 3 conference games in a row until that game yesterday, in which UCLA continues to roll. Aaron will follow another huge game. A terrific league, great competition in the Pac-10 this year.
Pac-10 the strongest, do you think, this year?
I really think so. I think that they have at least 5 teams that you could see being Sweet 16 caliber out there. And that takes away, not even counting Washington, a club that's having trouble right now that I think before the year is over has got to make a positive move. Washington State took them the other day, and the point differential really surprised me in terms of how well they're playing.
Aaron Gray back on the floor now. Here's Jarrell McNeil. Dwight Burke is also on. Nice, beautiful pass from David Kubian.
Give Tom Crean a lot of credit. His scouting has been terrific for this game. He's going to penalize Gray for coming out and trying to stop with his hedge move those screens.
Ramon is on the floor along with Benjamin. There's a little shoulder. Ball knocked loose. David Cubion, young man from Venezuela, freshman.
Without question, their best pure shooter from the outside.
There's Benjamin. Penetrate, kick out. Little jump stop, Matthews. And the foul before the shot was taken. 8 unanswered for the Golden Eagles of Tom Crean. That basket made it 15-10.
This is really good play by Aaron Gray. Now Fitzgerald's the key. He's starting to double down, but then Aaron Gray feels it, so he hits the ball back outside. When Fitzgerald moves this way, watch what happens. Fields dumps right back in. Gray gets better post position and easily turns and hits inside. Fitzgerald's got to make up his mind. If he's going to help, he's got to stay there.
Cubion with the ball.
Zone defense, 2-3 by Pitt. Gray down in the middle.
Now this zone defense against Syracuse really bothered this Marquette team. Also lost to Providence, their first 2 Big East team.
Well, that 2-3 is what Jim Boeheim has made so successful. Cubion with the jumper, it's the kind of shot he wants.
Cubion is the only Marquette player hitting more than 40% from three-point range. He's at 47. And here's Fitzgerald with the entry pass. Kick it out to McNeil. Foul. No, travel. Dominic James got a quick rest. He's getting ready to come back on the floor. Number 1, here's James. So it's James and Cubion. Wes Matthews is the man who goes to join the Marquette bench.
Well, Dwight Burke now is the 3rd man to be guarding Gray down inside. Probably giving up, it looks like, at least a full foot, doesn't it?
Boy, does it. Ooh.
He's kneeling down, so he's giving up almost 2 feet.
Pitt has been scored, excuse me, Billy, in the last. Here's the mismatch. Tonight, the NFL on CBS hits the last stop before Miami. Tom Brady and the Pats take on Peyton Manning and the Colts in the AFC Championship game. It all begins with JB, Dan, Shannon, and Boomer on a special playoff edition of the NFL Today here on the home of Super Bowl 41, CBS Sports. Hell ball. Possession arrow, Marquette.
I really fault the Pitt teammates there for Gray. He had the ball. He was almost triple teamed inside. Nobody moved, and he could have gotten the ball out for an easy jump shot.
I'm just thinking of that matchup with Burke and Gray. Burke is listed at 6'8" and Gray at 7 feet, but it looks like a foot.
Yeah, I'd say Burke's closer to 6'6".
That may be a Charles Barkley 6'6", right? Yeah.
But he does have some good lower body strength, so he may be able to hold him off that low box. Zone backing up way inside. Cubion should have a jump shot here.
Instead, it's James, and he cans it.
Terrific follow-through by James. Yesterday, we watched Marquette working in practice on that jump shot. Tom Crean talking about fighting for space with your feet to get that good lift, and James sure did it there.
Well, he had 4 of 7 from beyond the arc in the win at Louisville. They also, of course, won at UConn. Here's a foul away from the ball. Looks like they got Burke.
Yeah, that's Burke. Just trying to hold position to keep Gray away from that real low box where he gets his feet right down on the line, trying to keep him out of there.
Well, 3 substitutions now for Pitt and 1 for Marquette. Levon Kendall's back. Mike Cook is back. Right.
Well, Pitt plays 9 guys, and they don't mind moving them in and out. And they have a real nice distribution of minutes. Nobody gets too tired. There's Barrow now pushing.
Kendall, point-blank range.
Taya Gray has developed into a pretty nice passer. He's not impatient in the low post. Because of his size and strength, he looks over the top of the defenders.
That basket ends a 5-minute drought. Here's a nice pass from Fitzgerald. And there is Dominic James again.
Did you notice that? Exactly what Tom Crean was working on yesterday. Catch the ball, move forward, end up with your jump shot, landing on the floor closer than where you were when you took off. Great balance.
Now this Marquette team got here a little late yesterday, and they were on this floor working out from 6:45 to 8:45 last night.
That was a good, strong 2-hour workout. A lot of solid things. Basically the same thing. Didn't have to fight for the feet, though.
Antonio Graves with the 3. And it's a 6-point Marquette lead.
Graves had 19 in that Pitt win last year.
Kubion, he sure thought he had that one. Yep. Started back down court. Here's Ramon. Kubion. Ramon gets it back. Dishes in the corner. Three. No. Off Gray. It will be Marquette ball. Near the end of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. To honor their determination and outstanding play, Chevy makes a $1,000 contribution to each university's General Scholarship Fund. America's brand supports America's best, Chevy, and American Revolution.
Excuse me, Vern. Even in their 4 losses, Marquette has forced those guys that won the games, those 4 teams, to more than 20 turnovers per game. That's where they've got to make up for that lack of inside presence scoring. Now, that was not called. Graves turned around, looked at the official, and said, "You're not going to award 3 there, are you?" that ball was not a bank shot.
Oh, my. James is 4 for 4 on threes.
He's actually laughing at Graves right now, which is kind of funny. Hey, you know, I just buried 2 without even hitting the rim. Give me 1. But if you're the preseason Big Ten first-team guard, you deserve some breaks.
Ronald Ramon, who is the best long-range shooter for Pittsburgh, will go to the free throw line. 7:39 to go in the first, and Marquette up by 7.
Well, Vern, one of the things jumps out you right here. Marquette 4 for 7 from 3. One of the other things that jumps out at you is the fact that I talked about, even in the games that they lost, they forced the opponent to more than 20 turnovers in all 4 games. Right now, points off of turnovers, Marquette 7-0. They're leading by 7 points. Yep. A very important facet of their game because of that great quickness they have on the perimeter. I'll say another thing in regard to Pitt today. I think that they're playing as if they're the favored team instead of going out with some fire. I really haven't seen the fire that's necessary in the Big East to dominate. You've got to come out and play much harder than this to dominate because the league has got teams with a lot of talent.
Well, a week ago Saturday night, they did have that kind of fire and enthusiasm in winning over Georgetown. When they beat UConn here the other night, it was kind of a lethargic effort. Sloppily played game. Here's Graves, Kendall, Aaron Gray. Mike Cook wasn't ready for the pass.
There's what I'm talking about. You know, just that level of concentration, determination.
And so an unexpected 6 turnovers now. This is a team, they did have 18 turnovers in that UConn game, and they can be bothered by aggressive perimeter players particularly.
Should not be, but they have been, you know, and obviously are in this game.
And Ramon, body up. Travel and a technical foul called by Tim Higgins on Jamie Dixon.
Well, wait a minute. They're walking in the other direction. Yeah, I was going to say the official is walking in the wrong direction. And I don't know why Jamie got involved with that one because the call went in favor of his team. That's huge turnaround there.
Oh. There's the technical taken by Matthews.
Well, there's quite a turnaround here. And, you know, this one thing about this Marquette team, we talk about the great perimeter game and so forth, and then you look at them at the foul line. 63%. They are 15th in the Big East in free throw shooting percentage.
It comes time to take a technical, and you don't have many choices. Well, they put Matthews in the line. He's a 64% free throw shooter.
Yeah, it's up and down the lineup.
Yeah.
It's not like they've got certain guys that are not shooting well. None of them are shooting well from the line.
Gray misses, tipped out. Here comes McNeil.
Boy, did Barrow get down the court beautifully on that particular play. There was no dish to him, but he was ready for the follow-up. He's coming down on the other side of the court. You watch him coming into play.
Foul is on Ramon, and that's going to put Jarrell McNeil at the line.
More opportunities for points off of turnovers.
That's yours, Timmy.
McNeil, as Jamie Dixon is still chatting with Tim Higgins, albeit a little quieter this time.
Well, if you know they're going to throw that technical on you, you know you don't need another warning.
No.
In the lane too soon.
Lane violation.
You know,
27-18. Excuse me, Bill.
McNeil, who obviously is an outstanding all-around player, only one of 3 players in the country with an average of 14 points, 4 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 3.5 steals a game. I mean, that's really putting things out there that can help your team win.
Well, he was number 3 in Division I with steals.
Another one.
There's another. There's McNeil, and he's a pretty good offensive threat. That one doesn't fall. Here comes Graves for Pittsburgh. 27-18. Cook almost lost it. Gray finds Kendall.
Cook got lucky there because Matthews almost had a steal and he had an easy breakaway.
McNeil and James. Hayward, the freshman. This is Matthews with that split. They had Gray way outside. Hayward up, under, no. Marquette ball. Saturday, the road to the Final Four continues as 2 big-time teams collide. Roy Williams, North Carolina Tar Heels take on Lou Olson's Arizona Wildcats. That's Saturday on CBS Sports, home of the men's NCAA basketball championship. 27-20.
Out of the zone, back to man-to-man. Those jump shots from James took that zone away a little bit.
Still work the perimeter. Dominic James, beautiful.
That's exactly the play that is going to work. Gray gets caught outside. Barrow quickly goes from a screener to a guy that's dropping down in there, getting the pass, flash back.
Ousmane Barrow, 2 double-doubles in the last 3 games. Here's Gray going baseline. Barrow is there defensively.
Now what Barrow's doing is playing directly behind Gray and trying to, in effect, just play position defense. Gray's going to have to understand that and go ahead and take those little half hooks of his, or maybe roll back across the middle of the lane as opposed to trying to go baseline.
Ronald Ramon back on the floor, replacing Antonio Graves.
Jump shot for Ramon.
Yep, off the screen. Rattles home.
Good shooters get the roll. That was a well-executed out-of-bounds play. Nice job, Pitt. Here again, there's the screen. Barrow open.
McNeil. Good defense by Levance Fields. Here's Fields at the other end. James back.
You know, I'm going to credit this Pitt crowd. Realizing their team wasn't really putting full effort in there has really got them rolling now. It's changed the environment in this game.
No basket. Offensive foul.
Boy, I didn't like that call.
Wow.
I did not like that call. You got to give the big man an opportunity.
Sports fans, the CBS Sports Store has a huge selection of officially licensed team apparel and collectibles. Get the latest gear from your favorite team now at cbsstore.com.
What it will do, though, it keeps this crowd in the game, Vern.
Dominic James in and out. Kendall rebound. Fields wants to run. Cook is down court. He settles for Ramon inside the arc. Didn't get this one. Here comes Ousmane Barrow. Too far. James back to Fields.
Big man should have stopped that dribble.
Levance Fields. Offense. Dan Fitzgerald almost dug a hole and said, "I'm not moving." Third foul on Levance Fields. Back in Pittsburgh, now let's take a look at today's singular in-game analysis.
Vern, one of the things that jumps out at you right here, we talked about the best team in the country in regard to assist-turnover ratio, 8 assists, 10 turnovers, and Marquette really taking advantage of it. It's been a very good performance by Marquette in terms of how they scouted Pitt, what they wanted to do, and their execution has been excellent.
Tom Crean's team lost here last year. The rematch between these two will be back in Milwaukee
You know, a lot of people don't realize this, but Tom Crean knows a little bit about Pitt basketball. He was an assistant coach. You always think about being an assistant, where he started out with Judd Heathcote at Michigan State, eventually went back and worked with Tom Izzo there, but he did spend 1 year with Ralph Willard here at Pitt as an assistant.
Came here with Ralph Willard from Western Kentucky. There's the move to the right. High arcing shot, rebound Antonio Graves. Graves picked up by David Kubion. Ramon, there's the entry pass to Cook. Rejected by Barrow, nice block.
Beautiful timing.
And the lead for Dominic James. This is a Pittsburgh team undefeated at home this year, 12-0. They were 16-1 last season. Their last loss, last game here of last year to Seton Hall.
Pitt, one of the few teams, can go out with 3 men defensively, and there's Fitzgerald coming up with a huge shot. Just when you figure that Pitt had the 3 guards defended well, Fitzgerald steps outside.
Well, Steve Novak had 121 threes for this team last year, and it was hoped that Fitzgerald might occupy that spot. He's gotten a start, but he's hitting only 37% from three-point range.
Well, that was a school record, that 121 threes. One of the great pure shooters for a big man that college basketball's had.
Coming up on Singular at the half, join Greg Gumbel and Seth Davis for all the scores and highlights. That's coming up on Singular at the half. 2.5 minutes away. David Kubion, Maracaibo, Venezuela, was in prep school in New Jersey last year, and he picks up the foul. 9-point Marquette lead. And among their 3 victories in a row, wins at UConn, at Louisville. Here's Cook. Rebound, Fitzgerald.
Yesterday, Pitt was shooting beautifully from the perimeter, not getting it today. Ramon about the only guy that's looked good out there.
Cook is 1 of 4 from the field. There's a rebound, Graves.
Will they wait on Gray in the low post, give him an opportunity to get that ball back again? In too big a hurry.
Foul is called on Fitzgerald.
When you have a force as dominating as Gray is against this Marquette team, the guards have got to know, unless they've got something early in regard to penetration, pull it back out, at least get him a chance to touch that ball a time or two before you go to option B. He's got to be option A in this game, particularly with Barrow out of the ball game now.
1-1 for Ramon. We're in the bonus. Kendall and Fitzgerald getting close to the floor as the shot was made. Ramon, an 81% free throw shooter for the season. One of 2. Fitzgerald. Here's Kubion.
Illegal dribble. Good call. That's a terrific job by the officials. They've taken away what had been a play that became predominant dribbling technique for college players, and coming down from watching the pros play, and just gave an advantage to the offensive player that didn't belong there. So good call.
1:35 to go before the break. Antonio Graves. Burke comes over to help defensively, and another foul called underneath.
Now I really fault the Pitt guards right now in the fact that you've got Gray in the game. Barrow was out of the ball game. Burke, who's given up almost a foot in size, and you realize Gray has not touched the ball in the last 3 possessions down the court. No excuse for that.
Jarrell McNeil back on the floor, number 22, and here's Levon Kendall. Got his degree in December, major in anthropology with a minor in French. His dad, a well-known musician in Canada, told us yesterday his dad Simon is a combination rock blues pianist and has a brand new album. There's Burke with a rebound. 7-point margin with 1:22 to go.
Graves staying right with James.
There's a steal by Kendall. Got in the way of the attempted pass to Fitzgerald. Graves, yes. So Pittsburgh carves into the Marquette lead. A 7-2 Pitt run.
One of the keys in this run right here has been the defense of Graves on James.
Tom Crean wants a timeout. Marquette takes one. They lead by 5. 55.2 to go. Take a look at the current major conference leaders.
Well, here's a 5-1 BC that was 5-0. Vern lost to Clemson very convincingly yesterday. The loss of Williams really going to hurt that basketball team. I do not expect Boston College to be deep enough to stay up there in first place in the ACC, particularly for the likes of North Carolina. But look at that Texas A&M playing solid basketball. We had them against UCLA early this year. That is a club that will have to be reckoned with in this national championship run.
Yeah, Billy Gillespie's team with a convincing win over Oklahoma State yesterday, 32-27. McNeil looks inside for Fitzgerald. Here's Barrow, brings Gray way outside.
And do you think that Texas a little worn out after that Oklahoma State game and then having to play Connecticut in that game yesterday? That's so much athletic talent in it.
Yeah, losing to Villanova. Here's James with a jumper, in and out. Gray with a rebound with 28 seconds to go.
Now, let's see if that timeout, Jamie Dixon said to his team, let me introduce you to number 33. He had 8 points in the first 5 minutes, hasn't scored since that time, and it's hard to score, Vern, without the ball.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Basic principle. There he's way outside setting the screen. Oh, boy. He got a bump on Dominic James. Kendall for 3. That is not the shot they wanted.
And still has not touched the ball.
2 seconds to go. McNeil at the buzzer. We have reached halftime. End of the first half with the score Marquette 32, Pitt 27. Now let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York for Singular at the half. We're about set to the start of the second half from Peterson Event Center. 32-27 Marquette. Billy, take us through the first half leaders.
Well, when you take a look at what happened in this first half, James having a terrific game. You'd never would have believed he has 14 points. He's been quiet. He's been very judicious about his shots. Barrow on the inside, at least keeping Gray occupied on that move where he sets the high screen and then rolls inside. Gray, who was 4 for 4, started off terrifically, had 8 points right off the bat, never touched the ball the rest of the half, and that's put Pitt in the hole. Here you see those stats, and the thing that jumps out at you, Marquette, as we said, in games that they lose, they shoot very poorly from 3. Today, 5 for 12, taking good looks at the basket, and again, doing an awful lot with their ability to steal the ball and then go ahead and get points off for turnovers.
Levon Kendall will inbound, puts it in the hands of Levance Fields, who starts the second half saddled with 3 personal fouls.
And we talked about Pitt being #1 in the country assist-turnover ratio. In that first half, 10 assists, 10 turnovers. Not their game.
Whistle, 3-second violation.
And that was caused by the fact that Kendall did not get the ball into Gray when he was open, so Gray was posted. On the reversal pass, he was still stuck down in the 3-second lane.
Over the course of this season, Pitt averaging 12 turnovers per game. They're now at 11. Lazar Hayward, the scoop shot.
They're doing that time and time again. They get Gray to come out on the hedge move, and then they hit it right back to whoever he was guarding.
That was Hayward at 7 points now. Cook goes back to retrieve the loose ball. And they're going to get Matthews with the cheapie.
See, one of the things on that move, Vern, is the fact that Barrow is not going to take a three-point shot. So the defender has to just fight his way over that screen and not look to get any help. That keeps Gray back in the position that he belongs.
Antonio Graves, Levon Kendall looks inside for Gray. Finds him.
And Kendall brings his man, gets in the way.
Yeah, sure did.
If Kendall stays out of the way, Gray has wide open. Barrow beating him down the court.
Now Barrow was right under the basket. So misses on the underside of the rim. Fields finds Cook for 2.
One thing about Barrow, he runs the court extremely well. So if you're a big guy, he can wear you out. He can take a big man and make him play only in maybe 7 or 8 minute stretches, because you've got to run the floor with him.
Baseline, James.
You know, the win that Marquette had against Duke this year, they were just too athletic, too quick out on the perimeter for Duke. But you can see how Graves is staying right with James. He's done a fine job shutting him down in the second part of the first half.
Now Graves out again, and a travel. That came in Kansas City, that win over Duke. Back-to-back wins for this Marquette team over Texas Tech and Duke. These teams both lost to Wisconsin. No shame in that.
Well, they've had some common opponents, Syracuse, Connecticut, and Wisconsin. Wisconsin winning both, Connecticut losing both, and Syracuse splitting with them.
What do we get?
I think it should be a charge.
It is. Yes, that's what they call. On Cook. His second.
Great defensive footwork that time by Matthews.
Well, that's just off the top of my head. That's 3 charges taken now by Marquette in this ballgame.
2 of them with Cook dribbling.
Yes. So Wes Matthews brings it up. His dad, of course, a former star at Wisconsin, longtime player in the NBA. From the corner, James got that high arc in the ball, and there's a putback that's good by Hayward.
Solid game by Hayward. There was some question as to who would start in that position.
36-29. Largest lead in this game, and it's been achieved 3 times, was 9 points by Marquette. Little jump stop in the lane. No basket.
I think that one's going to be on Matthews for the reach-in.
That's 3 on Matthews, so Tom Crean's going to go to his bench and bring David Kubion on. Next dead ball. Here's Gray. There's the double. Actually, almost a triple team. And it leaves a man open from the corner. Chased down by Cook. Finds Graves. Beauty. Really nice.
McNeil lost Graves, and Graves kept moving without the ball. Nice job on his part.
Margin is 5 once again. Dominic James brings it across.
I am really impressed so far what Graves has been able to do, fighting his way around. There he is again.
There you are. And the foul is going to be on Hayward, I believe. That's going to be his 3rd. Pitt turnovers so far.
Very uncharacteristic of this team. But they, in my estimation, did not come out with good focus to start this ball game, and that often could lead to turnovers. The mental turnovers as much as physical.
Now Ronald Ramon is back on the floor. He's picked up by David Kubion. Entry pass, Gray, good position, basket.
If he touches it, he will score. Now he and Barrow banging each other coming down the court. Gray's got to be careful there. No sense picking up a cheap foul.
3-point game. Barrow, how about that?
I've mentioned it from the start of this ball game. That's an offensive maneuver that Marquette's taken advantage of. Gray cannot afford to come out hedging that far from the basket.
Ousmane Barrow, the young man from Dakar, Senegal, in double figures now. He's got 10 points on 4 of 5 from the field.
You know what I like about Barrow? 17 points, 13 rebounds against Connecticut, 14 points, 11 rebounds Louisville. This is the big games where you need a guy to step up. He steps up in the big games.
Now Gray has gone up against Roy Hibbert and the 7'3" freshman to beat from UConn. And Barrow is giving him plenty of game today as well. That one, nice little balance on the rim. Back to 3. Dominic James, Graves. There's the screen from Barrow. Kick out in the corner. Nice ball movement. Kubion, but Graves is right there.
Terrific job. There's that crossover against the double team.
We watched them practice that for at least a half an hour last night.
Absolutely. Very good coaching by Tom Crean in his scouting report for this Pitt club.
And Tom Crean, as he does throughout the game, prowling that sideline. Put an odometer on him. I bet he walks more than a soccer player runs. And a foul underneath. Called on Barrow. Pittsburgh, 15:33 to go. Marquette leads by 5.
Vern, we're going to see what we talk about, splitting the seam. Watch McNeil right now. As the screen comes, he's going to dribble over to the side, and then he's going to immediately cross over and go right down through the two players from Pitt. Terrific maneuver. And the reason for that is when a big guy comes out to hedge and take a guy like Gray, he's 7 feet. He's not used to getting down close to the floor. So when that crossover dribble takes place, he's no threat to you whatsoever to pick off the ball. And if there's a seam there, a guard that'll cross over will find himself wide open 15 to 12 feet from the basket.
Well, this Pitt team not outstanding at the free throw line either. They're averaging as a team 67.5, and Aaron Gray,
I would say,
both.
In the next 5 minutes, because Gray's been on the floor a long time, if Pitt's going to get back in this game, they have got to get him the ball often.
That one's short by McNeil. And the rebound in the hand of Sam Young, who's on now. Number 23, he finds Ramon, who finds Mike Cook. And that one off of Marquette.
Cook, who I mentioned earlier in this ball game, had great games against Marquette when he played at East Carolina. Not off to a big game here today. And Vern, you and Billy had the great game Marquette and Pitt in the NCAA tournament. Worked their way to the Final Four, didn't you?
Minneapolis, St. Paul, that was a Marquette victory of 77-74 in 03. And then it was 2 days later that Dwayne Wade had the triple-double as this Marquette team defeated Kentucky to get to the Final Four. Benjamin tries to find Aaron Gray. There's a foul. Gray's going back to the line.
Now, do you notice all the good things that happen when they get the big guy involved in the game? Whether he scores or not, he gets Marquette in some foul trouble. He makes Barrow work so hard and expend a lot of energy.
Foul on Fitzgerald. Jumper, Graves, in and out. Young can't quite hang on to the rebound. But then they chase it down. There's Benjamin.
On the arm, that'll be 3.
Little matter of the AFC Championship coming up next. New England at Indianapolis. That's tonight at 6:30, and it'll begin with JB, Dan, Shannon, and Boomer on a special playoff edition of the NFL Today. That's here on the home of Super Bowl 41, CBS Sports.
Which one of those 4 guys do you think was the best basketball player?
James Brown.
There you go.
Starter at Harvard.
DeMatha, All-American high school player under Morgan Wooten, was a tremendous high school basketball player, went to Harvard, and got involved with his educational endeavors.
I can hear Boomer Esiason right now saying, wait a minute, wait a minute.
He probably played on the rec team at Maryland. If that.
Yeah, if that. Oh, boy. The free throw woes continue. Levon Kendall's back on. Aaron Gray will get a rest. Pitt is now 4 of 9 at the free throw line. Benjamin shoots another.
Not only are they having a problem from the free throw line, but they've been shooting. They were number 2 in the Big East from 3. And they're not getting it done from out there either. Shooting 40% in the year as a team from 3.
Right.
Getting wide open looks today, but not making them.
Dwight Burke is back on the floor for Marquette. Here's Dominic James chased by Sam Young. Takes the jumper. He's got such great elevation.
Yeah, he does, but Young did a terrific job defensively there.
Ramon gets it for Pitt. Benjamin. James defensively. Loose ball. Touched last by Antonio Graves as McNeil went for the steal. And this will be Marquette's ball.
That was a bang-bang call for the officials. What did you think, Brian?
I thought he got it right. There are a few folks sitting around us who don't agree with that.
Tom Crean using his club. They've been able to hang in here. And, you know, you'd think that they're up by more than 3 points the way Pitt's playing. Right now, you got to favor Pitt. They're giving Gray a little bit of a breather here, but Marquette should be up by more than 3 the way Pitt's playing.
That ball tipped by Ramon into the hands of Kubion. Under 14 to go. Marquette team that made it to the NCAA last year but lost in the first round to Alabama. Oh, my goodness. Beautiful up and under.
second outstanding up and under we've seen today. Remember James in that first half. Now back to the 2-3 zone. Seems whenever Gray goes out of the game, Marquette goes zone.
This is Graves. He does the dive. They kick it out from Young to Ramon. McNeil goes for the steal.
Turnovers again.
Here's McNeil all the way. Got it.
Got to be a timeout for Pitt. They got to get Gray back in the ball game, and they've got to go inside.
Jarrell McNeil is number 3 in the country in steals per game. He averages 3. Got one there. This is the 5th year of the Peterson Events Center, and it gives Pitt a great home court advantage. There's some others, though. Duke, Kansas, Wisconsin. Gonzaga's on the list of tough places if you're the visiting team. Look at Gonzaga, 56-2.
They've taken on an incredible away game schedule this year, which makes it look like they're not having as good a year as they've had. But there you see Pitt down there, 75-6, not bad.
How about Illinois losing home yesterday, 3rd time this year, as Wisconsin beat them.
What did they have? Something like a 31 game or so streak going
into the season, yes. This Pitt team won the first 34 games that were played in this arena. And they're currently working on a 12-game streak, but they find themselves trailing now by 7. And Aaron Gray still on the bench. We thought we might see him back in the lineup. And a tussle and a foul. It's going to be called on Levon Kendall. Is it? Or is it Sam Young? They got Sam Young instead.
How much longer can Pitt go without getting Gray back into the game? I realize he did not practice this week from a standpoint of using that wrist, but he was running a lot. Here he's coming right back now. So I think that's a wise move. You cannot go much longer. Down 7, getting no offense.
McNeil, that one's tipped. Back into the hands of David Kubion. And now Jarrell McNeil.
And look at Marquette. Nice and patient, using some clock.
Matthews, kick out. This is for 3. How about that?
That's a terrific play. And without James on the floor, you've got Kubion comes into the ball game, and they still have that outstanding perimeter game. 2-3 zone employed. Gray sitting over in the sidelines.
Benjamin has it. And in contrast to this Pitt team, which is senior dominated, this is a very young Marquette team. There's Burke.
I don't think Jamie Dixon can wait the next time down the floor. He's got to get a timeout to get him back on the floor, or a foul. Here he'll be able to get him back in now. You cannot have him sitting.
That 3-point basket led to the largest lead of the game. Marquette by 10. Take a look at the top teams according to the ratings percentage index this week.
Well, Arizona's somewhat surprising right there. Wisconsin at 19-1, maybe a little surprising down as low as number 5. Kentucky. Tubby Smith had a nice run going until Vandy got him. 3rd time Vandy has beaten Kentucky in a row. And Southern Illinois showing that Missouri Valley is alive. And if you look at that RPI down the line there, Missouri Valley well represented again this year.
Air Force on that list as well.
Fern, we talked before the game the importance of 3-point shooting for Marquette. In their 4 losses, they were 4 for 20, 3 for 18, 4 for 23, 4 for 21, 15 for 82, 18% in their losses. What are they today? 6 for 14. Very important statistic for this Marquette team who's playing an outstanding game. Back in their 2-3 zone, Gray in the game.
They have scored 8 unanswered. Here's Kendall popping out with the screen. Levance Fields looks for Gray, can't find him. Now there's Gray, a little too strong with the shot. And the rebound in the hands of Marquette. Matthews, Kubion, McNeil, Dwight Burke, and Barrow as Dominic James continues to have a seat on the bench. There's Burke, fouled. He'll go to the line. Well, the depth of your research sometimes just amazes
Well,
me.
how about this play right here? Doc Carlson, he had his team 21-0 in 1928. One of the most innovative coaches of all time. And there he saw the Globetrotters play. This is 1949. Said, I'm going to put a man on the shoulders of one of my players. Not the score. Right. He thought it gave a better passing angle.
Is that still legal?
No, it is not a legal play anymore, but he was one of the all-time great innovators of the game of basketball. There you can see, on the shoulders. Look at that passing angle. Not bad, huh?
I can't wait until to see what you come up with next week. Here's Burke.
Doc Carlson was a doctor, medical doctor, in addition to being an outstanding football man, a basketball man, and a Hall of Famer. Tremendous tradition. That club was considered the mythical national champion, 21-0 at Pitt.
There's Gray putting it on the floor, and Levance Field saves it. Got a on his foul. That's going to be 3. Foul is on McNeil. Coming up next Saturday, Billy and I will be in Tucson as 4th-ranked North Carolina takes on the Arizona Wildcats. Great intersectional matchup, a repeat of a game they played at Chapel Hill last year. And here is Ramon at the line. 2 more.
Arizona struggling a little bit, but there's another one of those intersectional matchups that are so much fun in regard to back to the RPI again. Not only you're playing for yourself, but you're playing for your conference. In that particular case, the ACC Pac-10. It's always interesting to see how those matchups take place.
Well, we saw a couple of them on CBS yesterday as Villanova knocked off Texas despite Curtis Sumter not playing, and then Indiana goes into Hartford and knocks off UConn.
When you talk about coaches that are having an outstanding year, Kelvin Sampson, with what he's done with that Indiana team, really playing well. And Jim Calhoun with 9 freshmen. It's tough getting them on the same page, but there's a lot of talent there.
Ramon has 10. The lead is 8. Dan Fitzgerald gets it back outside. Now Dominic James is back on the floor. Just an outstanding point guard. 5'11" sophomore from Richmond, Indiana.
Here comes that high screen.
Yeah. Gray. Barrow dived, and Gray got back. Little jump stop and a wraparound pass. Out of bounds, off Barrow. Well, the concept was good. The execution wasn't.
It really was. I think that the patience, you can see how Marquette's using a lot of clock, but there's still 10 minutes to go in this ball game.
Levance Fields. Dishes outside for 3.
For the right man. For the right man.
Penetrate and kick out. Gray with a real cheap one.
Yeah, he has no chance out there with James, and he tries to reach. Of course, James is not only quick, he's very strong for his size, and just takes him.
Second foul on Gray. A 6-0 run by Pitt has carved the margin to 5. Important time in the game now for the visiting team. There's the little penetration. Fitzgerald for 3. Not there.
Over the back.
Yep.
That's Matthews, but over the back of Graves.
That's 4 fouls on Matthews.
Graves has had a quiet game. Doesn't show up statistically, but he did a terrific job. We had James with 14 points at halftime. Graves has really done a nice job settling him down a little bit. James is going to have to be more active here going down the stretch.
Levon Kendall back for Aaron Gray for Pitt. And Graves at the line.
Free throw shooting hurts teams. Is somebody in the lane?
Yes. Lane violation on Mike Cook. And Pitt 8 of 14 at the line.
As we mentioned before, both of these teams, for clubs that can go a long way in the NCAA tournament, it really jumps out at you. One shooting 67% from the line, the other team shooting right at 63%. Not the kind of numbers you like in tight games.
And not a lane violation. That was a foul on the rebound. So Fitzgerald is at the line, shooting 1 and 1. And Gray back on the bench.
You know, the thing that's surprising, Vern, about that free throw shooting, you know, with the exception maybe Barrel, everybody on both of these teams have decent-looking free throw shooting techniques. Now look at Fitzgerald right here, and are good perimeter shooting teams with open looks.
Well, Barrel goes to the bench, and seldom used Mike Kinsella, number 40, checks in, and immediately Jamie Dixon says, Aaron, get back on the floor. So Gray is back with Kinsella on the floor for Marquette.
Let's see if they stay zone or go. It looks like they're going to pick up man-to-man. Now that ball's got to go to Gray now if you're Pitt.
Kinsella missed 11 games with an injury. He did play the other night, minimal minutes. Into the corner, Gray, too strong. Gray put back, in and out. And it's trapped and taken by David Kubayar. So a marvelous opportunity there for Pittsburgh. James. McNeil, spin move. Off the glass short, there was Aaron Gray.
And he had to alter that shot because of Gray's presence.
Cook, the lead for Fields. There's the drive off the glass.
Fields, people talk about Khalid El-Amin, the great Connecticut backcourt. He's got that same kind of body. Doesn't have the presence on the floor offensively that El-Amin had, but he's got that same kind of powerful body.
Timeout, Tom Crean. Levance Fields with his first 2 points of the ball game. And it's a 5-point margin with 8 minutes and 48 seconds to go here in the Oakland Zoo.
That Marquette had in practice yesterday, that they had a guy on the floor, Jim McElvain, who impersonated Green. McElvain's 7'1", legitimate, knew exactly what they were doing. So they had a chance to work out with a guy that was one of the great players in Marquette history and who impersonated Gray and probably helped this Marquette team some.
Dominic James, Kinsella, not an offensive threat. Oh my gosh. Oh, did he blow a body? That's an offensive foul. Kinsella just leveled Levance Fields.
Yeah, inexperience on Kinsella's part. You can't afford a foul in a situation like that. He's pretending like Fields created the foul. Again, Gray on the floor. Maybe he's telling the coaches he's tired, but this is a stretch run here.
Kendall Gray sits, yes.
Yeah, Kendall down the low post, nowhere near the threat. 2-3 zone.
Little jump stop, kick left, Mike Cook, no. And who'd they get?
That's a push on the inside. McNeil pushed off.
Jarrell McNeil, that's his second foul. Well, here's the list of Big East teams in the top 50 of RPI, a total of 6.
Now, Pittsburgh started out the year being the team was picked to be #1 in the conference.
Right.
That's where they find themselves right now. Surprise teams, but Notre Dame certainly be one of them that's come up there and off to a pretty nice start this year.
Kendall, that wasn't pretty. 8 of 15 at the free throw line. That's a little better. 4-point game. Largest lead was 11. Pitt got it back to within 3.
And if you're Marquette, you want to see James be a little bit more aggressive trying to score here.
Pick and roll, Kinsella. Here's Fitzgerald. Off the glass, in and out. Did they get Kinsella?
I think they got Fields.
Oh, they got Fields.
I got Fields.
That's a mismatch, huh?
Yeah. Smallest guy in that mix, and he gets the foul.
Time is called. That's 4 fouls on Levance Fields. Marquette by 4 with 7:48 to go, Bill.
Well, Vern, 3 for 12 is Pitt, and they're only shooting about 50% for the foul line as well. But look at that, points off of turnovers. That's where Marquette has the advantage, although it's a slight one at 4 points.
And Levance Fields picked up his 4th foul, so he's got a spot near Jamie Dixon on the Pitt bench. 4-point game, 7:48 to go, and Kinsella is at the free throw line for the season. He has 2 points.
You know, I mentioned, Vern, now's the time for Dominic James to take over for his team. He scored the final 18 points in their 3-point win over Valparaiso, and I think he's been a little bit too complacent with the ball down the stretch. He can take over and make life difficult. There's Casella pushing Gray inside.
Now they got to get Barrow back in there, and they will.
Yeah, but you know what Casella did? I realize he's committed some fouls. He hasn't done much offensively, but he played some minutes to give Barrow that final rest that he needs to go down the stretch. And sometimes that's extremely important. Just steal some minutes.
Gray 0 for 2 at the line today. Make it 0 for 3. And the free throw shooting woes continue. Ousmane Barrow. Little hand clap from Mike Kinsella. He did. He gave him about a 4-minute rest in real time, not game time. And now Gray, who scored 8 points first 4 minutes, gets a little lucky with that one. 10 of 18 at the free throw line for Pitt. They've yet to lose at home this year, and they're 5-0 in Big East play. That one kicked by Levon Kendall. 7:31 remaining.
James has got Ramon on him, and he has been burying himself down inside. Hasn't had the ball in his hands much at the top of the key, where he's so tough to handle.
And Ramon's right with him. He had 14 points, did Dominic James, in the first half. Scoreless in the second.
They've been much too patient. He's got to make himself hard to guard.
Runs the baseline, comes back outside. 10 on the shot clock.
This is where you want him, right here.
Kicks it. Not there. Loose ball. Foul over the back.
Graves quietly getting a nice rebound there.
Third foul on Jarrell McNeil. 12th team foul, so Pitt will go to the line. Double bonus now for the remainder of the game. 7:08 to go.
Good hustle by Graves because he was moving in the other direction to try to get that rebound. Nice recovery.
One more. This is as close as Pitt has been since the halftime break. They trail by 1. And there's the split. And Kendall with the block.
Oh, I thought that was a good block. It might have been afterwards.
It was, Billy.
Yep.
They got him with the left arm after the block.
Yep. It was an excellent block on the ball, but the left arm is going to come down on James. But there was that split. Great elevation. Kendall comes down after, pushes James to the floor. But that was James for the first time, what seems like during this entire second half, where he aggressively tried to make an offensive move.
First time at the lane.
Marquette needs him badly, and here's that.
Well, he kind of typifies this Marquette free throw shooting effort. He's a 63% free throw shooter. Kendall has to go to the bench with his 4th foul. Graves, Mike Cook is back on. And Levance Fields is on the floor with 4. James shoots one more. Two-point margin. Under 7 to play. And for Pitt, we've got Ramon, Cook, Fields, Graves, and Aaron Gray. Kubion is out defending Levance Fields. Takes him on the dribble left.
Boy, I do not like what Pitt does in this particular case. Get Gray the ball. He'll get you on the foul line, or he'll get some kind of shot, or there'll be a kick out for an easier shot.
Barrow muscles him up. Here's the entry pass. Gray short. Barrow was a presence, and I think Gray was over the back.
Yes, he did. Pretty good defensive job by Barrow, but a good look for Gray.
3 fouls on Aaron Gray, and now Marquette will shoot twice. That's the 10th foul on Pitt. And they will send Barrow to the line. He's a 64% free throw shooter.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, with the exception of McNeil, they don't have a guy in their team shooting over 70%. Wow.
Nine of 16 at the line.
This team practices hard. They concentrate in practice. You would think that free throw shooting is something that they could overcome.
Barrow gets 1 of 2, and the lead is again 3 with 6:20 to go. Marquette trying to win for the 3rd straight game on the road. They won at UConn. They won at Louisville. To overcome an 0-2 start, there's another turnover. Here's Dominic James recognizing that Fields has 4. He goes all the way.
Oh, what a brilliant play by James, because he had Ramon on his back. Instead of trying to break away from him, slowed up so Ramon's feet had to get entangled and then exploded to the basket. Brilliant play.
3 points now in this half for Dominic James. Here's Graves. Gets the pivot foot set, and that's going to be a blocking foul. Watch James again, Billy.
Here's what I'm talking about. Oh, there was the breakaway. Now watch, he knows that he's there, so see, he slows down, breaks up the momentum that Ramon had chasing him from behind, and then exploded to the basket. That was a very brilliant play on his part.
McNeil picked up his 4th foul, so a number of players in serious foul difficulty now. Antonio Graves gets the 1st. Levon Kendall on the bench. Jamie Dixon calls timeout for the Panthers of Pitt. 5:43 remaining. Marquette continues to lead. Well, we got 4 recent NCAA champions currently among the unranked. Michigan State, Maryland, Syracuse, and UConn.
You see all of those teams, though, Vern, being NCAA tournament-type teams. You've got some youth involved in those teams. Maryland, a club that started well this year, I thought was going to make a real nice run. They've got balance. I realize they have youth in their backcourt, but I'm kind of surprised that they've cooled off a little bit.
Here's Matthews, Kubion. Dan Fitzgerald looks inside for Barrow. Now back to Dominic James.
You see what Tom Crean's doing. Said, I want the ball in the hands of this man. And he's giving it up too quickly.
Wes Matthews. Gray was a force there. He had to alter the shot and put it way up off the glass.
Surprised James is giving that ball up very easily without even being guarded.
Levance Fields traveled, carried the ball. That's that palming emphasis.
Yes, it is. Correct call by the official.
16 Pittsburgh turnovers.
It's one of those playground habits guys get into, and then when all of a sudden they've got to play under the rules, it comes back to haunt them.
Here's James again. Screen set by Barrow. Fitzgerald for 3 over Gray. Got it. Big basket.
Gerald's had 2 of them now. And extremely important, keeping that working margin going. 2-possession game.
Back to a 6-point edge. Graves on the floor. Matthews right there. Wanted to travel. Here's Dominic James. That's touch last by James. It'll be Pitt ball.
Good hustle by the first teamer from the Big East.
Freshman of the year last year in the Big East, Tom Crean, arguing a case. Dominic James, preseason pick, is a member of the first-team Big East team.
I don't think there's any question that he touched it last.
I don't either.
The official was all over that.
James out of Richmond, Indiana, not far from the Ohio State line. Runner-up Mr. Basketball his senior year there. Just a small high school gym, seats nearly 8,000. 57-51, Pittsburgh. Remember that assist to turnover ratio. Oh, there's a clean block by Barrow. And here comes Kubion. He'll leave it for Dominic James.
And James telling all his guys, let's use some clock. Don't be in a rush.
From the corner, yes!
How important has Fitzgerald been and maintaining this lead.
Well, remember the mention of Steve Novak. He looks a little like him with that shot. Time call. 9-point Marquette edge, 3:57 to go. The next line is significant. Pitt on the right column. 1 timeout left. Both teams are in the double bonus. And Marquette has a possession arrow.
And for Fitzgerald, 3 big 3-point shots left wide open because everybody concentrating on James. For the year, he was 21 for 56 of threes coming in this game, 37%. But he's been pretty pure here today.
10-2 run after Pitt closed to within 1 at 50-49. Here's Gray diving deep. Barrow defending. Cook. There's Barrow coming over to help on Cook. And the switch leaves Matthews on Gray. A foul on Marquette's Barrow. That's his second. 3:37 remaining in the ballgame. Back in Pittsburgh, where Pittsburgh has 1 timeout remaining. Possession arrow Marquette. If you're Pitt, what would you like to see?
You know, Vern, with 3:37 to go, down 9, I like the opportunity now, if you're Pitt, to have substitutions based on offense and defense. You keep Gray in the game when you're on the offense as much as possible, because you know there's going to be stoppage in the clock. Maybe you bring back a Sam Young or something to get some energy on the defensive end of the floor, or commit some fouls, because you might have to do that as well. But then try to get Gray back on the floor whenever you have the ball offensively. If you're Marquette, I think you want to put the ball in James's hands. He's been extremely patient. I thought maybe a little bit too much patience, and give Graves some credit for the way he was guarding him. But I think the ball in James's hands is a good idea for Marquette the rest of the way. And for Pitt, get Gray on the floor as much as possible when you got the ball.
1 of 2 for Mike Cook at the free throw line. His first 2 efforts, 14 of 23 for the game from the line for Pitt. Here's Dan Fitzgerald, a little full court pressure applied now.
Beautiful pass.
Nice bounce pass from Dye. It was.
It really was. That was a beautiful bounce pass. Went about 30 feet.
Well, basics, Billy. Remember we saw him yesterday working on bounce passes. Looks like a 1955 practice for the first 30 minutes. Here's James. There's a mismatch with Kendall. No.
I'm surprised he took that shot as opposed to driving by Kendall.
That one off Barrow.
James would have been better off keeping that ball and his dribble alive, going by Kendall, beating him with the dribble.
8-point game with 3:04 to go. This Pitt team 30-5 in Big East play in this building. Here's Kendall. Gray continues to rest. Antonio Graves, he can shoot the 3. Cook puts it on the floor, takes the jumper.
Not having the games for Pitt that he had when he was at East Carolina playing against Marquette.
Not at all.
Has not been a factor in this ball game.
3 of 7 for 6 points for Mike Cook.
And no pressure on the ball. Pitt's got to go out and aggressively play now. Try to get some steals, create some turnovers.
Clock at 2:25.
They're going to give him an easy 30 seconds here.
They sure are. Under 9. There's the steal. Ramon back. James is there. Alter the shot. Missed it. How about that? They tip it out to Graves. Ramon. He can shoot the 3.
Well, you know, he's better off missing the 2 and getting the 3. But that was credited to James' ability to go up there and alter that shot somewhat.
Time call. Jamie Dixon called a quick timeout after the made 3, Billy.
Well, everything favoring, as you can see right here, Marquette, including the fact that Pitt has no timeouts left. So Marquette in great shape. Both teams will be shooting 2 fouls. The clock in Marquette's favor. The fact that they've got a guy like James that can go ahead and penetrate, occupy the ball, although he did take, I thought, an unrewarded 3-point shot the last time down the floor. Gray is going to still stay on the bench. Look for Pitt to pick up full court as they did the last time down.
Let's check the 5 on the floor for Marquette. It's Dominic James, Wesley Matthews, Kubion, Barrow, and Dan Fitzgerald will inbound it. Mike Cook will guard the inbound pass.
You can see Ramon trying to keep the ball out of James's hands on the inbound. Can't do it.
They get it to James. There's the trap. He finds Kubion. Nice effort by Marquette to get it across the timeline. Under 2.
They were able to use 30 seconds the last time, even though it ended up in a turnover.
There's Dominic James. He gives it up with 10 on the shot clock. Wesley Matthews has it. There's the high screen set by Barrow. Penetration, Kubion. Whoa, he threw it away.
You know, Graves has proven to be the best defender on the perimeter today for Pitt. Therefore, whoever he's guarding should not be the guy that's got the ball at the top of the key as the clock is winding down. James has got to come out, get that ball, and take over.
Kubion is out after the misplay, and Jarrell McNeil is back on the floor. 5-point game with 90 seconds to go.
2 or a 3 will work here.
No timeouts left for Pitt. Fields has it in his hands. He's guarded by McNeil. Here's Kendall. Gray continues on the bench. And a foul is called.
Fitzgerald. Good cut to the basket by Cook.
Coming up next, the NFL on CBS. The last stop before Miami. Tom Brady and New England against Peyton Manning and the Colts. 6:30 tonight. New England at Indianapolis. It'll begin with JB and the boys. Cook gets that one.
71% free throw shooter.
He's 2 of 3 for the day. 3-point game, 1:19 remaining.
And there's the pickup full court again.
Trap. James finds Matthews, now Fitzgerald. Dominic James guarded by Ramon. This is Matthews and McNeil, the 3 sophomores who are the focus of this team. Timeout, Marquette.
There was an advantage at Tom Crean had. He had 3 left.
Time called, 11 seconds remaining on the shot clock. 55.1 in the game. Less than a minute to go. Marquette still with 2 timeouts remaining. And they have the possession arrow. And again, both teams in the double bonus.
Vernon, another thing you have to start thinking about now, who do you want to foul on, you know, the 4 free throw shooting teams? And Matthews at 63%, Barrows a 64% free throw shooter, Fitzgerald's a 65% free throw shooter.
And Marquette for the day is 10 of 17, so.
9 seconds. Gives the ball up.
Yep, there's Fitzgerald, Dominic James. 2 on the shot clock. Yep, shot clock violation. My goodness.
Where all that started was James giving up the ball on the first pass. He's got to realize he can control 10 seconds on the clock by himself.
3 turnovers on the last 3 possessions for Marquette.
And if you're Pitt, you can still go for 2. You don't need a 3.
Levance Fields brings it back outside. 32 seconds to go. Here's Cook. A jumper from the free throw line. And the margin is 1 with 27.5 to go. And they're going to put Dominic James on the line. The foul on Ramon.
All right, well, free throw shooting, which has been Marquette's problem all year long. 63%. Come back to haunt him again. We see Cook, who's a tough guy to guard. Fitzgerald on him.
Double bonus, Billy, so he will shoot 2. Dominic James for the day is 1 of 2. Used all of it, didn't he?
He got the good bounce off the front of the rim.
Pitt has not led in this game since they were up 10-9.
Well, here again, you can make it so important to force Pitt to be thinking 3-point shots.
Got them both. 25 seconds to go. Levance Fields guarded by James.
And they stay man-to-man here. I thought they might go zone, take off a little clock.
Fields, no. Kendall rebound, yes.
That was a smart play by Matthews not to try to block that shot.
14 seconds to go. Trap. Wesley Matthews will go to the line. And Aaron Gray continues to sit on the bench.
Well, at this point in the game, he's not the bigger factor because defensively, you know, you're going to be able to go ahead and spread things out. But his team and teammates did not use him wisely in this ball game today, where he is such a factor in the first 5 minutes and hasn't touched the ball much since.
Levance Fields has fouled out of the game.
That does hurt Pitt a little bit because he's probably the best they've got at pushing the ball up the floor and getting somebody open, maybe with penetration and kicking out.
Keith Benjamin comes on. Fields fouling out with 2 points. And Matthews will go to the line, shooting 2, and he is 2 of 3 for the day.
Well, you can see how important it is. Again, you hit the 2, you make it a 3-point game, and force Pitt to be thinking 3 again.
Wesley Matthews, a sophomore from Madison, Wisconsin. 2.
And I think it'd be a good time if he makes them to pick up full court here, to occupy a little bit of that time. Don't give Pitt an opportunity to roll the ball up the floor, but to be able to get the ball to half court quickly. Pure.
3-point game. And the quick substitution just before Terrell Biggs is back on.
That helps in a way. Marquette get an opportunity to pick up full court, which they weren't going to do. Here they are. They're picking up full court, try to occupy a little clock.
12.9 to go. 3-point margin.
I like the idea of fouling, too, if it gets down inside 5 seconds. Don't give him a chance to tie you with a 3.
There you are.
There it is. Not a bad idea.
Nope. Jarrell McNeil with the foul. That's 5 on McNeil.
Now, the key here is blocking out. There was the reach in.
That's 5 for McNeil. And Antonio Graves will go to the free throw line.
65% free throw shooter.
But today, Billy, 4 of 5.
Tom Crean using this as a timeout because he's got to get a sub in there.
Well, when we're finished, a little later, football tonight at 6:30, and it'll begin with James Brown, Dan Marino, Shannon Sharp, Boomer Esiason. That's at 6 o'clock Eastern Time, the NFL today. Tom Crean, 8th year. Jamie Dixon, 4th year.
Well, you're in the 2-shot foul situation. Both teams were, so there was really no, you weren't fouling to make them have to take the ball back out again. You knew they're going to the line for 2, but they can't beat you with 2 free throws.
One more.
And they can't tie you with 2 free throws. So no matter what happens here, but the key here, I think, is the blocking out situation.
Now Benjamin's on the floor and Biggs sits. Graves shoots 1 more. Too strong. Rebound, Benjamin.
For the win.
Ramon taken away.
Wow, there's a foul there.
Yarrow fouled him. It's a 2-point game.
He fouled him. He fouled him on the pass. It is not a shot. It was not a shot that he was attempting. So to be a two-shot foul, yes. Ball goes long. You know, really, Ramon probably should have tried to put that up and get fouled. Don't even try to make the shot. Just get fouled on the shot because he'd had 3 then. Now they're wondering who committed that foul.
Either James or Barrow. 3.5 to go.
Unfortunately for Pitt, you put your best free throw shooter on the line.
Yeah, Ramon's an 81% free throw shooter, and for the day, 5 of 6 with a chance to tie it.
And Vern, one of the things that I'm looking back at this, look at who is on the line for Marquette where this ball goes. Kubian is on the line, and great rebound. Great rebound.
That was Keith Benjamin who went up and got the rebound over Dan Fitzgerald, and then it was knocked out. And let's see if we've determined upon whom the foul was called. It was on Dominic James. And so Ramon will shoot 2. With 3.5 to go. Ronald Ramon from the Bronx.
Now, if you're Marquette, Vern, what you got to be thinking about, how do I get the ball up the court quickly? The answer is, can James take the length of the floor if they tie this up? The answer is he can. But you want to get him the ball on the fly if you can, if he makes this.
We're tied. Timeout, Marquette. Marquette with 1 timeout remaining and 3.5 on the clock.
Vern, you know, people will argue about should you commit the foul, the guy can make the first, miss the second. Look at all the things that had to go right for Pitt, but they did. So there is that potential. I still believe the foul's a good thing. Fitzgerald can run the end line.
Right. He's guarded by Kendall.
Here comes James.
Dominic James with the shot. Not there, overtime.
Well, they both played overtime games. Pitt was lost in 2 overtimes to Oklahoma State. And North Dakota State beat Marquette, so they both lost in overtime situations. Good idea by Marquette. Nice running one-hander. Would have been good if it would have gone.
Overtime. Pitt and Marquette tied at 64. We are set for the start of overtime. Marquette and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh trying to go 6-0 in Big East play for the first time. Marquette trying to win its 4th in a row in Big East play for the first time. And how ironic, Billy, we talked all game long about the lack of proficiency at the free throw line. And down the stretch, Pitt 5 of 7 and Marquette 4 of 4.
And, you know, Ramon on the foul line when the key situation needed to make 2. You got your 81% free throw shooter there. So a big break for Pitt. That was some rebound, though, that set everything up.
Keith Benjamin.
Keith Benjamin with a terrific offensive rebound on that miss.
Barrow and Gray will tip it, and Marquette steals it.
Terrible toss.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. That one leaned like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. There's the pass. Wes Matthews, Kendall guards him. Kubion. Penetration again. Matthews too strong. Gray and Barrow was over the top of the foul.
The intensity with which Pitt played on that particular defensive possession is what they didn't bring to the floor at the start of this ballgame and why they found themselves behind by double figures most of this ballgame. That was real intensity there.
Well, they were down by 9 3 separate times in the first half. They trailed by as many as 11 midway through the second half. And they scratched and clawed, and they now have their first lead of the ball game since it was 10-9. Barrow gets the rebound, and Kubion puts it in the hands of Dominic James. David Kubion, James, Barrow with the high screen. There's the split and the kick out from the corner. No. Gray rebound. Ramon.
When James goes back and looks at the tape of this game, regardless of the outcome, he'll realize that he needed to keep the ball in his hands much more down this stretch than he did.
Kicked. 18 on the shot clock. 4:02 to go in overtime. And Pitt with a 1-point lead.
And Gray, who had an opportunity to sit for a long time on that stretch run, should be rested.
Inbounds play. Ramon. Gray, no. Dip, yes.
And he is rested. I watched him run down the court with Barrow that time, stayed right with him.
Fitzgerald for the tie. Yes.
That's 4.
That's 4 threes for Dan Fitzgerald.
You think Steve Novak has come back, huh?
He kind of looks like it. A little bit of the physical presence. Novak at 6'10" and Fitzgerald at 6'9". Here's Gray at 7 feet with a nice soft touch.
Oh, he's rested. Oh, now let's see what they're going to call here.
They got Gray.
Now, let me tell you.
Oh,
Gray,
did they?
Gray
No.
got pushed to start off with. This is a great piece of officiating. The official was looking right at that. Kubian hit Gray. Gray retaliated. Instead of calling free throws, the official said, hey, guys, let's pull you together. That's not what we need out here.
That's Curtis Shaw.
There's the push, first of all. Then Gray retaliates.
Oh, boy.
Normally, you get caught the second guy.
Right.
But the official saw both of them. That's a great piece of officiating.
3:10 to go. James gets the screen from Barrow. Penetrates, pulls up off the glass. Foul call. Now the current Big East standings. Pittsburgh, the preseason pick to win it this year. Off to a 5-0 start. Followed by Syracuse and Notre Dame, 2 back. Or 1.5, actually.
Georgetown ever lurking. They're a club that really has some terrific balance, and I expect them to make a major run before this Big East season's over. James kind of got kneed a little bit there. He went to the sidelines. I think he's all right.
3 for 4 at the line today. That was the 4th foul on Aaron Gray. Levance Fields has already fouled out. And 1 more for James.
Both teams, as you said, Vern, shooting extremely well down the stretch from the foul line.
Yeah, real irony. 3 to go. Off the dribble, Graves. Back to Ramon. Yes. Great sure shooter. Season high of 21 points for Ronald Ramon. Kubian. Now Dominic James. Tipped. Foul. Foul is on Mike Cook, number 31. That's 4 on him.
Marquette continues to penetrate. We really don't have a low post game. They penetrate with those perimeter players.
Matthews now 5 of 6 for the game.
Got the J.J. Redick impersonation going out here.
What is this? All of a sudden, they can't miss. Marquette has hit its last 9 points.
And shows you how important free throw shooting is to a team. If either one of them have been shooting their norm, they have already lost this game.
And they were with about 5 minutes to go. This one. A foul called on Fitzgerald.
Now, we ought to point out, too, in regard to Gray, who did not practice for the 4 days. Here we see, later today, coming up.
NFL today, JB and the boys. Meanwhile, we've got a pretty good basketball game going on.
I was talking about Gray. You know, he has not practiced for the 3 days leading up to this game. Wore a heavy splint yesterday, but he showed no ill effects of that today. I mean, I haven't seen him wince at any time, and he stuck his hand in traffic. And now he goes to the line. 65% free throw shooting. The only phase of his game that's not all confidence.
2 of 6 today. Parents Mike and Sandy made the trip over. They have not missed a game this year, road or home. They drive over from Emmaus, Pennsylvania. That one makes him 2 of 7 at the line. Fields can't do anything. He's fouled out. Gray shoots 1 more. Nope. Ouch. 0 for 2. Dominic James. 2 minutes to go. Pitt by 1. Wesley Matthews has it now. Fouled by Mike Cook.
And Matthews just turned the corner, rolled his shoulder in there, and Cook didn't move his feet enough to stop him from turning the corner.
That's
Contact.
5 fouls, Billy, on Mike Cook.
And that hurts a little bit, too, because now you have Fields and Cook, 2 good penetrators that can make something happen off the floor for Pitt.
Mike Cook, once recruited by Marquette, and Billy has mentioned when he played at East Carolina, he was very effective against the Golden Eagles. Coach was fired.
One of the things that Graves has done so well defensively in this game, and Ramon as well, they've moved their feet so that the penetrating of the guards and the perimeter players of Marquette have not been able to turn the corner on them. Graves is out on the floor, Ramon out there as well, and probably the guy that saved the ball game, Benjamin, back on the floor for Pitt.
Saved it with an offensive rebound off a missed free throw. Matthews, 7 of 8. How about this? Wesley Matthews.
Both of these teams, as you pointed out, Vern, have got some nice streaks going. Somebody's going to walk away with a very big victory here today.
That's 11 free throws in succession for the Golden Eagles of Marquette. They've reclaimed the lead with 1:45 to go. Benjamin looks for Ramon. He shoots the 3. In and out. Kendall with the offensive board.
Probably helps for Ramon to put that ball up because Kendall and Gray really have an advantage inside against Burke and Barrow for the offensive rebounds, and they were in great position that time.
That foul was on Dwight Burke, number 12, his second. And here's Levon Kendall, 2 for 4 for the day. Make it 3 for 5. Levon Kendall, the graduate from Vancouver, British Columbia. Hit by 1.
Not only are they making the free throws, they're just putting them right, burying them right down through the net.
This is Dominic James guarded by Ramon. Wes Matthews curls back out. Back to James, 15 on the shot clock. High screen set by Barrow. The switch.
He's keeping the ball in his hands now, but he's taking it too late. He's down to 6.
5 on the shot clock. Long jumper. Rebound Ramon.
4 possession there.
55 seconds to go. Benjamin. Gray calls for it. They put it in the hands of Ramon instead.
I think if Gray touches it, you'd want to foul him if you're Marquette. Don't let him get an easy basket down and low.
Oh, there's a little flying elbow and no call made. Timeout.
Jamie Dixon didn't have any timeouts in regulation. Gets one in the overtime, so that's the one he uses.
We'll return to Pittsburgh for the Marquette-Pittsburgh game in just a moment. Marquette carried 1 timeout into the overtime, so they have 2 remaining. Pittsburgh has used its 1, allotted in the overtime, but they do have the possession arrow, 30.3 to go.
Well, Vern, I mentioned that both of these teams have lost their overtime game that they both played this year. One of the things that also they have in common, they both lost to Wisconsin. We mentioned that earlier. And you know, when you go around the country and you talk to people who have played against Wisconsin, isn't it amazing when you say, hey, who's the best team you've played this year? And almost unanimously, they'll say Wisconsin. Every phase of their game is solid.
And both of these teams, coaches felt that way.
Yep.
6 on the shot clock. Inbounded to Kendall. Keeps it. That one's loose on the floor. Picked up by Wesley Matthews.
Here's
23 seconds to go.
Having Fields and Cook on the bench really hurts Pitt.
They put it in the hands of Dominic James, now guarded by Keith Benjamin. Timeout.
And Tom Crean called the timeout, not realizing that James had him beat for a layup.
He sure had it, boy. He had a clear path to the basket. Today's Chevrolet players of the game: Dominic James from Marquette, Ronald Ramon from Pittsburgh. In recognition of their determination and outstanding play, Chevy will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's General Scholarship Fund. America's brand supports America's best, Chevy and American Revolution. Football, the AFC Championship game. A lot on the line. New England and Indianapolis. A berth in Super Bowl 41 at stake. JB, Dan Shannon, and Boomer will get you started at 6 o'clock Eastern. Jamie Dixon came here with Ben. Became the coach when Howland went to UCLA.
You know what's impressive, Vern, is the fact that sometimes you take over from a great coach like Ben Howland. You use his players that he recruited, and you have a couple of good years, and then things start going in the other direction. But he's now playing with his players, and the team is still outstanding.
Ball inbounded to Matthews. 10 to go. Matthews goes baseline. Barrow back to Dominic James. 5. There's Gray defensively. The penetration. The ball is up. Foul with .9 to go.
That's where that lift that James has, even if he goes in among the trees, his vertical leap gives him that opportunity to get something off. Watch him right here. He just goes up and elevates. No question he was fouled on the play.
Levon Kendall with the foul. He has fouled out.
Did we talk about free throw shooting, Vern?
We did a little bit.
And so that's what this game's going to be all about. He makes these two. And Marquette has had a great road win.
Now Kendall is remaining on the floor. James is ready to shoot.
Well, he's got 60 seconds to get somebody in the ball game for him. He'd like to take as much time as possible to make James think about the shot.
So Kendall heads to the bench. Terrell Biggs is back for only the second time in this game. Marquette has hit its last 11, a team that averages 62% to the line. And Dominic James is 5 of 6 for the day. We are tied.
One of the things you look for in a foul shooting situation like this is, does the player lean towards the basket, or does he pull away from the basket and not follow through? Let's watch James. Stayed right with it.
For the lead.
Stayed right with the shot.
With .9 to go.
And you want no foul here if you're Marquette.
Biggs to inbound.
Unusual pass.
Intercepted by Matthews.
And a foul call.
With 1/10 of a second to go.
That'll put Matthews on the line. He will be shooting it.
Dominic James. And the Marquette Golden Eagles. They won at UConn. They won at Louisville. They're about to win at Pittsburgh.
And for the first time in their Big East history, win 4 in a row. That's not bad. 3 of the 4 being on the road against really top-flight programs.
Got it. Well, sometimes it pays to make a trip with your husband. And Joni Crean is here with 2 of the 3 kids, Riley and Megan. You think they aren't enjoying this? There's Joni. Does she look like a Harbaugh? Her brother Jim is the new head football coach at Stanford. Marquette hit its last 15 free throws. They steal one in Pittsburgh. For Billy Packer, I'm Vern Lundquist. This is the home of the NCAA Championship.